Sunday morning. Golden light pouring through linen curtains. The smell of fresh coffee and warm pancakes drifting through a beautiful home. A man successful, well-dressed, beloved by his neighbors, sets the table for his family. His wife laughs from the kitchen. His children run down the stairs in their pajamas. And from the outside, from every possible angle, this family is perfect. But here is what no one sees. At 6:47 that same morning, before anyone else woke up, before the coffee was even brewed, that man silently picked up his phone, typed 3 words into a message thread, and deleted it before setting the phone face down on the counter. 3 words. Gone in seconds. Like they never existed. That is where our story begins. Not with a dramatic fight. Not with a tearful confession. Not with a caught lie. It begins in the silence. In the smile that's just a little too practiced. In the routine that's just a little too perfect. Because the most dangerous secrets are never the loud ones. They are the ones wrapped so tightly in ordinary life that no one thinks to question them. This is the story of an affair hidden behind a perfect family image. And by the end of this video you will understand exactly how it happens, why it happens, and most disturbingly why so many people never see it coming at all. We live in an age of curated perfection. Social media has given us the ability to construct an image of our lives that is entirely separate from the reality of them. The carefully filtered vacation photo. The anniversary post with the heartfelt caption. The family portrait where everyone is laughing, the kind of laugh that took 11 takes to get right. And we consume it. All of it. We double tap on the beautiful kitchen renovations, the coordinated Christmas pajamas, the date nights, the milestone birthdays. We look at these images and we think they have it all figured out. But here is the truth that psychology, sociology, and decades of relationship research all agree on. The performance of a perfect life is frequently a symptom of something deeply wrong beneath the surface. Researchers who study infidelity, and yes, there is an entire field devoted to it, consistently find one pattern that surprises most people. Affairs are not most common in visibly troubled marriages. They are most common in marriages that look fine. Marriages where both partners have quietly stopped addressing the real issues. Marriages where the routine has become so comfortable, so managed that no one rocks the boat. Marriages where love has been replaced by logistics, school pickup schedules, mortgage payments, dinner reservations, and where both people have silently agreed not to ask the harder questions. The perfect family image is not just a product of vanity. In many cases, it is armor. It is a wall built so high and so convincing that even the people inside it start to believe it's real. And that is exactly the environment where an affair takes root. Nobody wakes up one morning and decides to destroy their family. That is the part that most people struggle to accept because it would be so much easier if they did. If betrayal was always a cold, calculated choice, we could spot it. We could prepare for it. We could say, that could never be me, or I would never fall for someone like that. But the reality of how most affairs begin is far more unsettling, because it begins with something that feels entirely innocent. It begins with a conversation. A conversation that feels easy in a way that other conversations haven't felt in a long time. Maybe it's a coworker who listens without checking their phone. Maybe it's an old friend who remembers who you used to be before life got complicated. Maybe it's someone you meet completely by accident. At a conference, at a gym, at a neighbor's barbecue. Who looks at you and actually sees you. Not the version of you that pays the bills and shows up to school plays. The real you. The buried you. Psychologists call this emotional flooding. The sudden, overwhelming experience of feeling understood by someone outside your primary relationship. And it is intoxicating precisely because for many people they didn't even realize they were starving for it. The first conversation leads to a second. The second leads to a text. The text becomes a thread. And slowly, without any single dramatic decision, an invisible line is crossed. The sharing becomes more personal. The laughter comes more easily. The thoughts drift there to them at unexpected moments. Driving to work. Lying awake at 2 a.m. sitting across the dinner table from a spouse who feels, suddenly, like a stranger. This is what researchers call the emotional affair. And it is the stage that most people refuse to name for what it is because naming it would require confronting it. So they don't. They tell themselves it's just a friendship. Just harmless. It hasn't gone anywhere. And all the while, the wall between their two worlds grows thicker, and the performance at home grows more polished because guilt, when it hasn't fully formed, looks a lot like overcompensation. The flowers brought home for no reason. The spontaneous weekend away. The sudden interest in how was your day. The perfect family image gets brighter, even as the foundation beneath it quietly cracks. Here is what is remarkable, and deeply unsettling, about people who carry on affairs for extended periods of time. They become extraordinarily good at compartmentalization. The human brain, when under enough emotional pressure, develops an almost architectural ability to separate, to build walls not just between one person and another, but between oneself and another. Cognitive scientists refer to this as psychological splitting, and it allows a person to be genuinely present in two completely different realities without one contaminating the other. The father who coaches his daughter's soccer team on Saturday morning with genuine pride and genuine love, and who by Saturday evening is exchanging messages with someone else, is not necessarily a monster performing compassion. In many documented cases, both versions of that person are real. The love for the family is real. The connection to the other person is real. And the mind has found a way to keep both alive in separate rooms, with separate locks, in a house that appears from the street to be just one home. This is what makes the double life so sustainable, and so devastating when it ends. Because the people on the outside, the spouse, the children, the friends, the neighbors who wave hello on Sunday mornings, they are not looking for cracks. Why would they be? The image is seamless. The routine is intact. The Instagram posts are still going up. The couple still holds hands at dinner parties. The family still appears at church, at school events, at neighborhood gatherings, looking exactly the way a family is supposed to look. And here is the cruel irony. The more effort poured into maintaining that image, the less anyone thinks to question it. The very perfection of the presentation becomes its greatest protection. But nothing stays hidden forever. Even the most carefully maintained double life eventually develops fractures. The question is, are the people around it paying close enough attention to see them? Most aren't. And this is not a failure of intelligence. It is a failure of framework. We are not taught to look for emotional absence in people who are physically present. We are not taught to read the specific silence that falls in a room when someone glances at their phone. We do not have language for the particular quality of a hug that has warmth but no weight. Former counterintelligence officers, people professionally trained to detect deception, say that the most reliable signs of a maintained secret life are almost never the dramatic ones. They are the microsignals. The fractional pause before answering a direct question. The topic change just a half beat too quickly. The person who is unusually calm in situations that should produce some anxiety. The person who, when accused of nothing, still explains themselves in remarkable detail. Friends and family members looking back after the truth comes out, almost always say the same thing. I thought something was off. I just couldn't name it. And I didn't want to be wrong. That last part matters. I didn't want to be wrong. Because when someone's life looks perfect from the outside, the act of questioning it feels like an accusation. Feels rude. Feels like projection. And so the signal is dismissed. The instinct is overridden by the image. And the secret survives another day. And then something shifts. It is rarely a Hollywood moment. There is no red-handed confrontation in the majority of cases. More often it is something small. A phone left unlocked by accident. A receipt for a restaurant neither person went to together. A name mentioned once too often. A date that doesn't quite match up. A child who innocently repeats something they overheard. One small thread. Pulled. And the entire image, built so carefully, maintained so tirelessly, polished so relentlessly, comes apart in an instant. What follows is not just the end of a secret. It is the demolition of an entire constructed reality. For the betrayed partner, it is not just the affair that is painful. It is the realization that the life they believed they were living was, in significant ways, a fiction. Every memory becomes suspect. Every moment of happiness is retroactively shadowed. Every photograph on the wall becomes complicated. Who was that person smiling at that birthday party? Who were we on that vacation in that photo that got 200 likes? The psychological research on betrayal trauma is clear. It is not the physical act of infidelity that causes the most lasting damage. It is the loss of narrative, the loss of certainty, the loss of the story you told yourself about your own life. And for the children who grow up in the perfect family that wasn't, the impact can echo for decades. So what do we do with all of this? The story of an affair hidden behind a perfect family image is not just a story about betrayal. It is a story about what happens when we stop choosing each other, really choosing each other, and start choosing the performance of choosing each other instead. It is a story about what loneliness can look like when it wears a smile, about how far a person will go to avoid an uncomfortable conversation, about the gap between the life we display and the life we actually live, and how, if that gap grows wide enough, something will always find its way into it. The antidote is not vigilance. It is not suspicion. It is not monitoring phones or auditing receipts. The antidote is radical honesty. The willingness to say, inside the safety of the relationship you have chosen, I am not okay. I feel invisible. I feel lost. I feel like we have become strangers wearing familiar faces. The willingness to hear that too without collapsing under the weight of it. Because the cracks that let affairs in are rarely sudden. They are built slowly out of all the things left unsaid. The perfect family image is a beautiful thing. But no image, no matter how perfectly constructed, is stronger than the truth underneath it. And the truth always finds a way out.